Hello, how are you? In this video I'll be showing you 4 different ways in which I do backgrounds for my illustrations. So the first one being 3D. As you can see, I use a program called Flowscape, which is, if I'm not mistaken, an app where you can draw landscapes. It's promoted that way, but in like 3D it gives you like the options already. You don't have to build like your own objects in the 3D program, for example, like in Blender, where you have to mess around with polygons and whatnot. I don't know how to do that stuff, so I don't even deal with it. I don't even look in that direction. My computer would not be able to handle it, I'm pretty sure. I bought this program in 2021, I think, or 2022. It could have been 2022, I'm not sure. It has been a while. It had a discount, even though honestly it's like really cheap. You don't really need it. I'm just a cheapo. At the time I saw this program, I was like, oh, this is my chance. But you don't really need it. It's very cheap. I don't remember the price of it. It has been a while also since I bought it, so inflation could have happened and whatnot. I don't know how games work. I'm sure inflation also hits them. It hits everything. Someone help us. But yeah. So for this drawing specifically, I knew exactly what I wanted. I drew the concepts out in my sketchbook so that I knew like what I was trying to achieve. But I also had like this whole picture like already in my head, so I knew what I was going for. The premise being Selena lying down or sitting. I don't even know what the fuck this siren pose is called. But she's just hanging out like in a forest near a lake and getting hit by wind, and that's very pretty and very cute. So after you finish building your landscape, you just kind of like find an angle that you want, you take a picture of it, then you import it into your program. You could mess around like with the hues and the saturation and the contrast and whatnot. I did do that just because I wanted the colors to look a slightly teeny tiny bit different. But overall it looked like the way I wanted it to. I just wanted it to be a bit warmer, if I'm not mistaken. So after you do that, you draw in your character, keeping in mind the background, of course, like that bumpy little hill that's there. It was honestly a bit hard to keep that in mind because I was like, well, it's bumpy, but I don't know. I don't think it would have affected her like figure that much, really. I don't know. I think it turned out good enough. I like this picture, how it turned out, so I think it's good. After you draw your little character into the background, you will put a base color so that you don't lose where your character is, and then I don't know. I just like used textured brushes in overlay mode to like add colors and a bit more of that painterly texture to the background so that it blends in a little bit better with the drawing. But I didn't really change that much. For example, I could have used a program that I use from time to time also, named Photo Sketcher, in an old video where I'm drawing a background, which is the Buying Bread illustration, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if the video is also named Buying Bread, but there you can see me use Photo Sketcher and another form of backgrounds that I do, which I will show you in a bit. But yeah, I could have used that program for this illustration as well. I just decided against it because I actually wanted like to show how you could like blend it in. You don't have to like. Photo Sketcher is a program. I didn't even explain what it is, right? It's a program which transforms like your pictures into like paintings or like drawings and whatnot. It adds like a texture to it that looks like a drawing. It turns your picture like a drawing, and it's very useful for when you like want to not draw your backgrounds and you just want to use a photo. Or you could go the Ennio Asano round and just use your photograph in black and white. I really want to learn. I know that he uses photography from time to time, but I really want to learn how, because I don't know, it looks drawn, so I have to look into that at some point. But yeah, here you can see me add like the colors and textures because I wanted it to have like a certain vibe and like blend in a bit more. and actually look like my illustrations. And in my illustrations I use like yellowish light with like blue subtones in the shadows and whatnot. And I wanted to give that vibe off because that's how I draw, right? Am I not going to draw how I draw? I don't know. I used purple shadows like I always do because I added like a purple subtone to the picture itself from my 3D background, so it blended in well. So I didn't have any issues, so I just colored in Selena and then I used my usual drawing techniques, which I'm sure that you already know, and if you don't, there is none. I just use purple on a multiply layer. That's it. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say about this illustration specifically, other than like I like how it turned out. So I guess that's it. Like, the illustration is very warm, so I didn't have to use color theory that much, like my knowledge of it. I just picked the usual colors for Selena and went on with my life. So I guess I'll see you in the next drawing, which will be in a bit. So for this next illustration, I wouldn't even know exactly what to call it. Like, the most famous version, the most famous name of this technique would be photo bashing, but I honestly met it as matte painting, and I don't know the difference of the two. I honestly already searched it up on Google more than once, and I don't know the difference of it. To me, it's all the same. Because it's taking parts of pictures and putting them into your illustration. I don't know if photo bashing is that you paint over it or whatnot. Like, I paint over certain parts of it anyways, so that it like looks a bit more of how I want it to. I honestly don't know. I don't know. But this is photo bashing or matte painting. For this, I drew out the concept that I wanted to, so that I knew where I wanted to put like the certain parts of the picture, and to know what my concept would look like and the lighting and whatnot. Since in this case I'm using parts of certain pictures, and I know like when I was like choosing the pictures that I was going to use, I already kept in mind the sort of lighting that I wanted, but I wanted like to have a reference of it anyways, because just using the concept of my sketchbook that I had like drawn out, it wasn't enough. But yeah. Now, this drawing specifically, I don't know how I feel about it. The execution of it is pretty good, but I think that the concept in itself is boring, and that's why it's just another like drawing, you know, just meh. But I don't know, I think it serves the purpose of this video. I'm like choosing certain photographs. Like, when I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to draw, I knew that I wanted to draw Delish at a gas station doing suspicious stuff, you know. So I chose the pictures in a free-to-use picture website. I don't exactly know if I used just Pexels or if I also used Pixabay, but those are the two websites where I get like free to use pictures from. I also sometimes use my own pictures, but I would never use like just random pictures, for example, that you find on Pinterest, for example, because those are most definitely not free to use. Even if they are on the internet, someone just put them out there so that they could show off their work, right? But when they publish stuff on Pexels or Pixabay, they actually give you the authorization for you to use those. Okay, you got me? Good. So, I had to erase like certain parts and like figure out exactly like the elements, which ones are in the background, which ones are near and whatnot. Jellish has a truck. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I don't even know how to explain it. Like, this is a Ford truck, right? But I saw a little video a while back of a guy gluing on like the Toyota sticker on his truck, right? Like writing Toyota on the back, and he wrote it wrong, and then he stuck on his truck Totoya. And I loved that, so I just added that to Jellish because that's something that he would do. He doesn't even know how to read, right? Like, he knows how to read. Did I ever mention that? I think I only mentioned that on Twitter. Jellish is illiterate in a certain way. Like, he can read. It would not make sense for him to not know how to read because he has photographic memory, right? He could just like memorize the letters and, you know, it doesn't make sense. But instead, his brain just does not want to, because if you don't know, English isn't exactly written the way it is pronounced, and his brain does not like that. He does not comprehend the fact that things are not written the way that they sound. And his brain just doesn't want to remember that, so if he like types a message or writes something, he would write it the way that it sounds more so than the way that it is actually written correctly. But instead he just doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want to get bullied. Poor little guy. So I just published like a little sketch onto my Instagram story because I from time to time remember that exists. And someone answered, and I know that you will be seeing this. I just don't know if you will get this far into the video, but I love you. The person sent me another way, Yotoda, and I had to draw that as well. I don't know if I have the pictures. If I have the pictures, I will like put them in here. But I just love the idea of Jellish having a Toyota truck, pickup truck, and it just being glued on wrong. I just love that. I had to include it. You can barely even see it because it's so dark, the actual picture, that you don't see it really well. Plus it's a Ford truck with a Toyota sticker on the back. I don't know. Truck and car people will hate me for this, but I don't really care. I have to figure out how to draw cars. I know how to draw simple cars, but I'm not a car expert, and I have to figure out how to car at some point, because it's kind of like a thing that people use a lot, you know, cars. You drive and whatnot. Like Jellish, for example, has a pickup truck. Even Selena has a pickup truck. Despite her not liking to drive, she got one. Even Autumn has a pickup truck. Do I have a thing for pickup trucks? The answer is yes, but we need to talk about it. So for this, I like put in the base picture. I painted over certain parts so that it blends in. For example, the leaves. The leaves were like, they had to go over that, how do you say it? Pedestrians sidewalk. I got there. I got it. So it had to go over because it's the forest that no one is supposed to go into that surrounds the city of St. Mosley, which is the name of the city where they live in. And he is in a gas station that's like right like at the edge of town, kind of like inside that forest already, so like you see that background. It's kind of distant from civilization, to say the least. And you know, it's very overgrown and like very forest and scary and dark, and it's like kind of nighttime as well. So for drawing this, I really had to keep in mind all the light points, light spaces, all the places where light comes from, because like if we go from our view, like we are looking at Jellish and he is about to do the doing, right? Because he is a hitman, if you didn't know. And well, we are in front of the gas station store, which would be reflecting some sort of light, but since it's a bit more distant, it wouldn't be that strong. The strongest light point in this drawing would be the street lamps that would like be reflecting the strongest light in this drawing right behind Jellish. But we also have to keep in mind that it is also nighttime, so the moon is out and it is shining like a little bit through the forest, and that's why you can like kind of see the forest in itself, and it isn't just like a black mass. So keeping all of that in mind, I had to like add a lot of shadows and light and reflections and whatnot to make it blend in a bit more. I added lots of textures as well, like I did with the first drawing where I used like a 3D program, you know. You were there. It hasn't been that long, but it already feels that long because my god, this video is so fucking long. But yeah, I don't know if I liked the way I drew Jellish. I indeed did change it a bit, like off camera, I guess. Because Jellish is supposed to be like very robust. He did not look right here, so I just messed around. I had to like copy him and paste him and like mess with stuff and just make him look right. I don't know if I did it the way I wanted it to. I don't know. It was a weird one. The concept is very weak. It isn't very interesting, but it serves its purpose. It is Jellish just standing there in a gas station with an axe. Dude, if I think about it, that axe is huge because Jellish is huge. He's like around 6'8", 6'9", 6'7", I don't know. I usually say 6'8" just because it's, I don't know. But that axe is huge. Now that I think about it, that axe is the size of Selena. My god. But yeah, here's the finished drawing of Jellish. I don't know. I could have used Photo Sketcher for this, I just didn't. So, I don't know. I don't know what to think. For the next way that I draw backgrounds, photos. Since we already went through 3D, which is like the way that people draw their backgrounds, usually for comics, right? And I already like did matte painting or photo bashing. I still don't know, and I could not tell you the difference, and I don't think I will ever figure out the difference. Like using parts of photos, I guess that now we use a photo in itself. This is a free-to-use Polaroid that I got from the same websites that I always use. This is not a picture that I took, even though sometimes I do use pictures that I took or that someone that I know took, like a family member. But in this case, a free-to-use one. I had this picture, like I put it in Photo Sketcher and added a little bit of a like painterly layer, just so that it is a bit more solid and like kind of drawn or kind of painted. I don't know, just so that it like has more of a drawing look. In this case, I used it. I had this done for months now. I did it for that video where I drew over photos, you know, I draw my characters into photos. I did it for that video, I just never used it because I didn't have time. But this concept I've had for months now because I still remembered the concept that I had at that time, which is cave after Selena died, just looking out into the, I don't know, this doesn't really make sense. There isn't an ocean in St. Mosley, but sure. There isn't even an ocean in Xelium in general. Xelium is the country where they live in, okay? An imaginary country that is right in the middle of South America. I don't know, this doesn't make sense, but I like to just pretend. I could have drawn over it, but I just like to pretend because I was lazy that he's looking out at the lake, because there's like a huge lake that divides the city of St. Mosley into two parts. One being like a little suburban area, a smaller little place, and one being like the big urban area, which isn't exactly really that big either, but it's bigger, you know. So yeah, if you see Cave looking different, as I said, this is after Selena died. Like a lot of stuff happens to him. He like goes kind of crazy, you know, his best friend, childhood friend died, and he was fought with her, they weren't talking and whatnot. It's a complicated thing, but let's just say that he let his hair grow out and he looked kind of like a hobo, but then he decided to be a decent man again, and then he shaved his whole hair off and went bald for a while, and then he let it grow back, and then just stuff. You know, he can't really have long hair because he's an officer and that would not be practical. But I usually draw him with a mushroom head, as I say it. He's a mushroom head guy because he has hair just in a little bowl cut, kind of, but curly. I don't know, it's cute. I think it's cute, but in this case, he's kind of bald, I guess. A bit lumpy. Oh no, he's lumpy. I will bully him forever now. My lumpy man. Oh no. Okay. So this was very simple. I just drew them into the railing there, like leaning and whatnot. He sees the ghost of Selena just sat there because he remembers her. For this, I actually picked the colors from the picture. I was going to explain this in the first picture, but I didn't actually use it if I'm not mistaken. But usually when I draw like into drawings, into backgrounds that are already there and they already have their atmosphere, for example this, which I didn't really change the colors, I have to use color theory to my advantage. So since I know that Cave himself, I don't exactly know what I would describe his color palette as. I think it's very neutral. It's very much green and yellow. Yellow is a warmer one, but like green is pretty much neutral. So keeping in mind that the picture in itself is very cool toned, I like have to move. I color pick from the picture itself as well, but like I have to like move usually like the slider of the hues to a cooler tone so that it is that same color but cooler, you know, because it is affected by the whole atmosphere of the place that they're in. So doing that, I colored in Cave. Selena in this case, since Selena is very warm toned, she gives off like a really big contrast, but not really that big because her opacity isn't full, so you can see that it's just the ghost of a girl there. And it's really good that she contrasts it that much, since that gives like a focus point. Like, of course, you probably, when you first see the picture, you see Cave because he's a lot brighter. Is he really that much brighter? I think so. But then you go down because the color changes and there's something else there, right? I don't know, I think that turned out very well. This was a very easy drawing. It came together just like... It was like putting like a warm butter on a nice toast. I don't know why that was my reference, but it was just so easy. Everything just came along. It was not like Jellish in the gas station, because that one was complicated. He did not want to exist. I worked on that one for hours because it didn't come along, but this one was just a little speed paint. Did it in an hour. An actual hour, like 1 hour. But it's also simple, so yeah. It's like using photographs for backgrounds is like an easy way to just do illustrations in a way that's, you know, interesting. Instead of like having to draw out the whole thing. Sure, it's cool to know how to draw. I know how to draw backgrounds. But sometimes I'm lazy because having to draw backgrounds means that you need to know perspective and need to know objects and need to know everything, and that's oh no, it's just such a hassle, you know. So I guess I'll see you in the next drawing because I don't have anything else to say then. For the final drawing, it is a drawn background. This drawing is actually old. I started drawing this last year in like, I don't remember now if it was September or October, but around that time, and I just stopped halfway because I got tired of it. I had no motivation at that point in my life. So I don't know. I decided, it has been stuck in my head ever since because I actually like it. I like the concept of it. And I liked how it was turning out. The background was very well drawn. It's just like my usual brushes in Krita, but with an outline. Except the trees. The trees I drew by hand because drawing trees is easy and I like drawing those. Tree stems specifically. The leaves, no. I hate leaves. I hate drawing leaves to a point where I will do everything in my power to not do it. But yeah, I also need to learn how to draw umbrellas. This, I will admit, that umbrella is traced. I don't know how to draw umbrellas. I don't know how to draw umbrellas, and I need to learn how to draw umbrellas. At some point I need to make videos just like learning how to draw stuff because there are a lot of stuff that I need to learn how to draw. Free ones specifically, like umbrellas, shoes, and animals. I'm not good at drawing animals, and if I want to include an animal at some point, like I want to draw cats. I have 4 cats, I have 2 dogs, 3 if we include my neighbor's dog that he does not take care of and instead I do, and my mom as well. But I need to learn how to draw animals because what if I want to make a portrait of my little bunnies? Okay. I need to stop being a little bitch. Yeah, I need to make videos just learning how to draw things, so I guess you can look forward to that. We could suffer together if you want to. Yeah, so this is a 1-point perspective drawing. The perspective point is, if I'm not mistaken, like behind the she or like beside her. I don't know exactly. Sometimes when I draw my backgrounds, I just do it by hand because I want it to look like janky and like it's hand drawn because it is. I'm drawing it. I'm suffering. But sometimes I want it to look sort of right, so I follow the perspective points. And I don't really know what to say for this one. I knew exactly the colors that I wanted it to have. I wanted it to be like very pastel and like purpley and pink, because those are she's colors, and bluish too because she's very pastel-y and cute, and I don't know, she's very like I'm so girly, you know. Well, Selena's very like goth girl, punk, sort of like vintage as well. It's complicated. They have their styles, you know. That's what I'm trying to say. And for her color palette, it's a lot brighter and not very dark, so I had to keep that in mind. I added multiply layers and did a lot of blobs because leaves. I don't know, I just had to like put the general shape into the leaves so that I knew like, oh okay, I got it. I know what this looks like, and then I just went in with my brush and painted over those because it's a lot easier, and that way I could also like add the colors that I wanted it to have, for example blue. And then I just went in with another brush and added like yellowish highlights. I don't know, it was like lots of painting over. Then at the end I remembered, oh yeah, she has an umbrella, she's in the rain, so I had to like add droplets and like... Good thing is that in Krita I have brushes that like is like the reflection of water, like the sea or whatnot, and adding that to the asphalt or whatever it is she's walking on. I never actually, you know, after I finished it, I started considering like this background in the context of the place she lives in St. Mosley, and I just started thinking like, where is this? There is no place like this. There is no park like this or anything, and the forest does not look like this. The forest is very dark and scary because, you know, you gotta add like a little bit of substance. Whew. But I don't know where this is. I have no idea, honestly. Could not tell you. I don't know. So then I add like highlights to certain leaves so that it looks a little bit more detailed, so that you think like, oh, look at that hand drawn. So detailed. You put so much effort into this, and I did put effort, but not as much as the people who actually draw their backgrounds and like make it very detailed and whatnot. I don't have that power yet. Or do I? Maybe I have the power and I just don't put in the effort. It could also very much be that. But yeah, I just drew over it a bunch and then like added certain details and added highlights and reflections and shadows and colors and textures and this and that. It's very repetitive, but very rewarding too. Honestly, this video is so long, but I don't have much to say, so I don't know. I guess I'll see you when I'm done with this drawing. Here you can see my finished drawing of she in the rain, and here you can see every single drawing that I finished, kinda. I hope to see you next time, and I hope you have a nice day or night. Bye!